Hi, this is David Schenck with the Schenck Team, part of HomeSmart's elite group, and today we're back with Sandy Richards of Pinnacle Capital Mortgage. And Sandy has been in the mortgage business for 17 years, and prior to that was in the title business for 9 years. And I've had the privilege of knowing and working with Sandy for most of those years. So Sandy, what is the biggest obstacle for home buyers in today's market?
Well, there really are several obstacles depending on the buyer. Every buyer's financial situation is different. Everyone has a different need for what can be done for them depending on their credit score, how much down payment they have, and their credit history, and the area they're looking in too. So I think for maybe the affordable price range, which would be up to about $275 in the Valley right now, the biggest obstacle is getting a property, because that is very competitive. Having a really strong pre-qual and a down payment will make you more competitive. Looking good on paper, and just looking as good as possible to the seller, having some skin in the game, that always helps when they see that you look good and that you have a strong possibility of closing. That's what they want, of course.
Yeah, that's true. I do see a lot of multiple offers. If it's a very nice home and it's priced right, you're going to have multiple offers, usually within the first couple of days. So it's important when we're negotiating for the buyer that we have a strong contract that shows that they are well qualified. And so I would imagine that would be something important for people to do, is make sure that they have something that looks good to the seller, just for that competing and trying to get their offer accepted.
Right. And then about that price range, inventory sometimes is low in certain areas, popular areas. The other thing that we see is just down payment. Prices are higher in some areas, and getting that down payment together. What are the options? So, we talk about gifting, we talk about borrowing funds, but you can borrow from yourself. So your 401k, if you have a Roth IRA, those vehicles sometimes allow for a buyer to borrow money from themselves. And we have pretty low down payment programs we can look at too. They will have mortgage insurance, but up to $453,100, that's conventional maximum limits in Maricopa County and some of the surrounding counties too. Down payment is as low as 3% on conventional and 3.5% on FHA. And if you're VA eligible, 0 down. So we've got some pretty good programs for low down payment without having to go into looking at down payment assistance programs.
I know that's a question that I hear a lot as well. Do I need 5 or 10% down? But it's good to know that you can get in with as little as 3% down.
Right.
In the competitive market that we have today, this isn't always possible, but sometimes we're able to get the seller to pay some of the closing costs, because in addition to that 3% or 3.5%, there are some closing costs that are involved in the purchase. Now, if the seller is not negotiable and is not willing to pay that, is there another way that maybe they can cover those closing costs?
Right. Well, as far as from a lender standpoint, what we can do is bump up the rate some, and then the borrower can get some funds back for closing costs and prepaids. So not only are there closing costs associated, there are prepaids for upfront insurance, homeowners insurance, your escrow account for escrow and taxes in the future, and prepaid interest. So when you start adding all those up, they climb and get to a pretty good number that sometimes people are surprised at. But it's something that we have to, along with the borrower, figure out where are all these funds going to come from. So that's a part of our job, is figuring out with them where all the money for down payment and all the closing costs and prepaids will come from.
Well, it's good to know that there are options. For example, let's say somebody's buying a $300,000 home, 3% would be $9,000 down, and if they have $9,000, they could actually get into a home with some of these options, either the seller contribution or bumping the rate a little bit to offset those costs.
Right.
Well, that's good to know.
Yes.
Well, thank you, Sandy. And for more information, go to our website at thesschenkteam.com, and there's a link where you can contact Sandy, and she'll be able to answer any questions that you have and look at your situation. There's no obligation. She'll help you understand what your down payment would be, what your payments would be, and what price range you can qualify for. So thank you, and we'll see you again on the next video.